Hello guys. This time I'm gonna show you 15 most powerful superheroes in the Marvel Universe. Number 15. Spider-Man. A bite from a radioactive spider triggers mutations in Peter Parker's body, granting him superpowers. Spider-Man has the ability to cling to walls, superhuman strength, a sixth sense, spider sense that alerts him to danger, perfect balance and equilibrium, as well as superhuman speed and agility. The character was originally conceived by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko as intellectually gifted, but later writers have depicted his intellect at genius level. Academically brilliant, Parker has expertise in the fields of applied science, chemistry, physics, biology, engineering, mathematics, and mechanics. With his talents, he sews his own costume to conceal his identity, and he constructs many devices that complement his powers, most notably mechanical web shooters. Number 14. Jessica Jones. Like Peter Parker, Jessica Jones was an orphan. Well, she became one after she got in a car accident that killed her family and exposed her to radioactivity that gave her superpowers. She woke up from a coma with the ability to fly. When classmate Parker reached out to her, trying to show her that he understood the whole orphan plus radioactivity equals ANGST equation, she pushed him away until he battled it out with Sandman in the middle of class. This apparently inspired her to use her powers, but after being kidnapped by the Purple Man and psychologically manipulated into doing evil things, she put her superhero underwear to the side and went Nancy Drew, forming a private detective agency and still having some run-ins with her superhero buds. Number 13. Captain America. Steve Rogers had the same childhood dream as any American: to fight Nazis, but he was too weak to enlist in World War II. He was apparently so devastated about this that a mad scientist called Abraham Erskine wanted to use him for Project Rebirth that would create super soldiers. Rogers was the first and only of this race because Erskine died without revealing his process to anyone. Captain America did the Nazi fighting thing for a while but became cryogenically frozen in an ice block, where the Avengers found him decades later. He quickly became their leader. Number 12. Iron Man. Anthony Stark was two things: rich and smart. He went to MIT at 15. In a fight with a supervillain, he got a piece of shrapnel lodged in his chest, and because it could not be removed without killing him, his assistants made a chest plate that also regulated his heart. He soon had the full body suit, which made him Iron Man, because if there's anything a young billionaire needs, it's an ego boost. He continued the rich playboy facade while living a double life as a superhero and has been one of the key members of the Avengers. Number 11. Wolverine. Perhaps the most tragic background of any Marvel hero belongs to Wolverine, born James Howlett. He was the son of a rich plantation family, but in fact was illegitimately fathered by the groundskeeper. When the groundskeeper Thomas Logan's other son attempted rape, Logan was thrown off the grounds, but he came back to kill John Howlett. Logan ended up killing his father using his mutant claws but was kicked out by his mother, who killed herself. Wolverine developed insane powers, most notably the ability to regenerate from any wound. He even survived an atomic explosion in which all of his skin burned off but was soon healed back. His healing powers allowed him to survive the process of his skeleton and claws being bonded with adamantium, a metal alloy known for being virtually indestructible. Number 10. Deadpool. Deadpool is one of the most notable Marvel characters because he is often used for comic effect and is the only character who breaks the fourth wall. He has an incredible healing factor that may have triggered his insanity, but nevertheless he remains mentally unstable, and as hilarious as he is an unstoppable killing machine. Deadpool's many powers include immunity to toxins, slow aging, and the ability to regrow limbs in hours. He was able to reattach his head after it was smashed by Hulk. He's also a master of all weapons and can resist telepathic attacks. Number 9. Scarlet Witch. As the daughter of Magneto and twin sister of Quicksilver, the Scarlet Witch, born Wanda Maximoff, had many connections with the superhero world. She belonged to the second generation of Avengers, led by Captain America, along with Quicksilver and Hawkeye. After being kidnapped and brought to another dimension by the warlord Archon, her teammates were forced to bring her back, and she soon fell in love with her android teammate the Vision. Despite her brother's reservations about her having such a relationship with a robot, she and the Vision married and had children. The Scarlet Witch became an apprentice to the noted witch Agatha Harkness and had the ability to decimate the mutant population with just a few words. She could also manipulate reality and probability. Number 8. Jean Grey. If you've ever wondered if teenage girls are able to read each other's minds, maybe Jean Grey's story will give you the answer. When her friend was killed by a car, her mutant powers emerged and she was able to mentally connect with the dying girl to the point where Grey herself almost died. Once she'd come to terms with her powers, she joined the X-Men. With the Phoenix Force, she was able to defeat one of Galacto's heralds. Her powers when transformed into Phoenix include being able to rearrange matter, survive in any atmosphere, create portals to travel anywhere in the universe, and manipulate electromagnetic and cosmic energies. Number 7. Hercules. Everybody dreams of signing a movie contract, but nobody does it like Hercules. The Greek hero got himself into a mess when, in agreeing to sign a movie contract, he actually agreed to take on the responsibility of ruling the netherworld. Thanks, Pluto. Thor eventually shimmied his way down under to rescue the buff airhead, flattening Pluto's forces until the god surrendered and agreed to take back his kingdom. After that, Hercules pretty much did whatever Thor wanted, and although he didn't have a lot going on upstairs, he did have the powers you would expect of a Greek hero. He lifted up the 60,000-ton Godzilla and tossed him like a beach ball, and he was even a stand-in for Atlas at one point. True, it was only for a few hours, but holding the weight of the entire world is no small feat. Just ask Atlas. Number 6. Black Bolt. He may not be able to time travel or regenerate skin, but no other Marvel hero can claim the power of Black Bolt, the ability to level a whole city with a single whisper. Why does that make him a hero? He spends his whole life trying to fight it. Black Bolt was an inhuman who, as an embryo, was exposed to Terrigen Mist, which caused him to be able to manipulate electrons. As a child, his destructive voice was discovered and he was put in a soundproof chamber and instructed on how to use his power. However, when he re-entered the world with a vow never to speak a single word, his younger brother tried to provoke him into doing so anyway. Black Bolt spent his whole life fighting his incredible gift of destruction. Number 5. Sentry. Imagine this. You're an ordinary middle-aged man living a completely ordinary life, and suddenly you remember that you're actually one of the world's greatest heroes. That's what happened to Robert Reynolds, who began to remember that he was actually the Sentry and that his arch-nemesis the Void was coming back. He started asking around, and as other superheroes' memories of him began to resurface and the public became aware of him again, Reynolds discovered the real reason why nobody had been able to remember him. The Sentry and the Void were two halves of the same being, and when the Void had tried to destroy the Earth before, Reynolds had saved the world by wiping his memory from everyone on the planet, including himself. The Sentry was the world's strongest superhero, with the power of 1,000,000 suns, with superhuman senses to the extent that he could hear the heartbeat of a butterfly in Africa while he was in New York. However, despite his awesome power, The Sentry's memory was for a second time erased from everyone's mind, including his own. Number 4. The Hulk. You know you've got power when people have to launch you into space to get you out of the picture. This is what happened to the Hulk, the monstered form of physicist Bruce Banner. Banner first became the Hulk when a teenager drove onto a testing site for a gamma bomb. Banner pushed him into a trench to save him and was hit by gamma radiation, which caused him to transform at night into a monstrous creature. Hulk's powers are unprecedented. He can lift trains and castles, and he even grappled against the god Thor. He joined the Avengers, but during a crisis they decided that he was too dangerous to remain on Earth, so they tricked him into going into orbit. Banner usually only becomes the Hulk when he gets angry or stressed out, so the lesson here is, don't pee in Bruce Banner's Cheerios. Number 3. Franklin Richards. Some would say there's nothing worse about taking care of children than temper tantrums. Meet Franklin Richards, a kid so pumped full of power that he was able to defeat several of the world's most dangerous supervillains before he graduated middle school. Although he often used his powers for good, the radiation-altered mutant did not have the ability to properly control his unprecedented power, and many of the foremost Marvel heroes played hot potato with the kid. He was first under the care of his parents Susan and Reed Richards, then temporarily cared for by witch Agatha Harkness, who passed him on to a robot named Herbie. Under the care of the robot, he actually aged himself into adulthood for a short time, but apparently realized he wasn't ready to grow up yet and switched back. Let's hope the kid doesn't turn out like Peter Pan. Everyone's gotta grow up sometime, especially if you're a ticking time bomb like Franklin Richards. Franklin is a mutant who possesses the power to warp reality, i.e., to make any thought or desire come to fruition, even up to a cosmic scale. Conjunctively, he is able to rearrange the molecular structure of matter. Franklin once subconsciously created his own pocket universe, encompassing a virtual replica of Earth 616. As a result, several cosmic entities, including Galactus, Eternity, and Infinity, as well as Omniversal Guardian Roma and Omniversal Majostrix Opal Luna Saturnine, began to take notice of Franklin's tremendous gifts, going so far to describe him as a being whom the Celestials felt was on par with themselves. Two Celestials, Ashema the Listener and Nazar the Calculator, were at one time tasked with retrieving Franklin for evaluation as a new member of the Celestial Host. 37. A group of beings recognized as gods by the Eternals and Deviants. In addition to reality and molecular manipulation, Franklin has vast psionic powers that have manifested as telepathy, telekinesis, energy blasts of concussive force, recognition, and astral projection. Being a child, Franklin's abilities are restricted to an extent by his limited control. Moreover, it remains unclear what power levels Franklin will ultimately achieve as an adult, as several future incarnations from alternate realities as well as the mainstream Marvel Universe have been shown to vary in power. One such manifestation of Franklin in adult form was able to destroy two Celestials from Earth 4280 during physical combat. In the aftermath of their defeat, Franklin's immortality was strongly implied. The same individual also tapped into the power of his younger self to resurrect and transform Galactus into his own personal herald after the Devourer of Worlds had been rendered unconscious in battle against a host of Celestials. Number 2. Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer wields the power cosmic, granting him superhuman strength, endurance, and senses, as well as the ability to absorb and manipulate the universe's ambient energy. The Surfer can navigate through interstellar space and hyperspace, which he can enter after exceeding the speed of light. He has proven capable of time travel on several occasions, even able to make others time travel with him. The Surfer sustains himself by converting matter into energy, does not require food, water, air, or sleep, although he occasionally enters a sleep-like meditation in order to dream, and can survive within nearly any known natural environment, including deep space, hyperspace, and within black holes and stars. Heya Surfer can project energy in various forms for offensive and defensive use, including bolts of cosmic force powerful enough to destroy entire planets and create black holes. He can utilize the power cosmic to augment his superhuman strength to indeterminate levels. The Surfer can heal living organisms, though he cannot raise the dead. Number 1. Thor. Thor is incredibly long-lived and relies upon periodic consumption of extended lifespan, which has lasted many millennia. Thor is physically the strongest and the guardian of to physical injury that approaches invulnerability. Thor possesses keen senses that allow him to track objects traveling faster than light and hear cries from the other side of the planet. Thor has the ability to travel through time. His stamina allowed him to battle the entire Frost Giant army for 9 months without any sustenance or rest. Thor has shown the ability to regenerate wounded portions of his body, including entire limbs or organs, with the aid of magical forces such as Mjolnir. Thor has superhuman speed, agility, and reflexes, enabling him to deflect bullets with his hammer. As the Norse god of thunder, Thor can summon the elements of the storm, lightning, rain, wind, snow, and uses Mjolnir as a tool to focus this ability, although the hammer cannot command artificial weather, only natural. He can cause these weather effects over the world and destroy entire buildings. By whirling his hammer he can lift entire buildings with the wind. Thor can also create small tornadoes by quickly whipping his cape in circles. Thor is a superb hand-to-hand combatant, and is skilled in armed combat, excelling in the use of the war hammer, sword, axe and mace. Thor possesses 2 items which assist him in combat: the enchanted belt of strength, and his signature weapon, the mystical hammer Mjolnir. The first item doubles Thor's strength and endurance, while the second is used to control his weather abilities, flight, energy projection and absorption, dimensional travel, matter manipulation, and the most powerful of his offensives, the God Blast, which taps into Thor's life force, the Thermoblast, and the Anti-Force, which counteracts another force. Using Mjolnir by throwing in the desired direction and then holding on to the handle's leather loop, Thor can fly at supersonic speeds in Earth's atmosphere and travel faster than light in space. When Thor has to transport companions and/or objects to a destination by himself, he has a chariot drawn by 2 huge mystical goats called Toothnasher and Toothgrinder that can fly nearly anywhere he desires almost as easily as with Mjolnir. Video made by Mr. Techno.